I thought we'd start with discussing the model of reality for a majority of the world. We can call this model of reality the matter first model. And we're all very aware of this model. This model goes something like this. 13.8 billion years ago, a massive event happened called the Big Bang. Over the course of several billion years, that matter cooled and solidified into the cosmos we know today, which includes the Earth. A couple billion years ago, life crawled out of the ooze and became a mammal on 4 legs. Eventually that mammal stood up onto 2 legs, developed a brain, and when that brain developed, consciousness arose out of that brain matter. And that is what gave us the ability to derive society as we know it today. That is the foundational understanding of most of us in this world on how this universe is created and our position within it.
Sorry guys, I'm new here and I'm not sure if it's going to be like a conversation or is there a structure to the Q&A? I'm really sorry. This is my first time here.
It's all good. Usually I give some sort of a talk or a guided meditation. Sometimes I give a presentation. And then it opens up to Q&A.
I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. What's perplexing about this model or matter first model of reality is that not one shred of evidence has been located for it. Quantum physicists have never found matter. And to take it a little bit further, psychologists have never found an ego, and neuroscientists have never found consciousness. To apply that directly to you, science has never found your body, psychology has never found your mind, and neuroscientists have never located your consciousness. And yet, for some reason, this is the basis of reality for most people on this planet. So what do scientists find when they look for matter? What they discover is that everything that we know has an underlying substance that this borrows from to create its reality. So everything we know has an underlying reality that it borrows from to create its reality. And they've scaled this back and back and back until they've reached this infinite plane of potential, which they call the unified field. Let me give you an example on what this means and how to view it so that we can use it as a tool. Let's take a tree, for instance. A tree has an underlying reality of wood. So a tree borrows its reality from the underlying reality of wood. Wood borrows its reality from the underlying substance of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates borrows its reality from the underlying substance of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen borrow its reality from protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons, neutrons, and electrons borrow its reality from mesons. We are now in the quantum realm. Mesons borrow their reality from bosons. Bosons borrow their reality from dark matter. And dark matter borrows its reality from dark energy. And it's this dark energy that the physicists call this unified field. It's an infinite potential. It's an infinite soup of potential where everything is possible that could arise out of that. So this is what it's meant by when scientists look for matter, they can't find it. There's no evidence that this matter first model even exists. None. What they find is an infinite two-dimensional plane of infinite potential. That is what a tree is at its core, at its foundation. So we can say, how does a tree come into existence? Well, it arises from the no-thingness, the formlessness, non-thingness of everything. It arises into dark matter, bosons, mesons, electrons, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, carbohydrate into a tree. That's how a tree comes into existence. And now we apply that to everything that we know. That's how everything comes into existence. So cars and birds, and you could even say thoughts and feelings. This body is how this body comes into existence. Since they've never found this body when they go and look for it. And you can see that everything merges quickly. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be organic or inorganic or anything. It quickly everything comes into a similarity with getting to electrons and then drops into this quantum realm. The problem with this matter first model that we're all tied into is that it's a model of separation. Because it says, because we could say believe in the upper tiers of this progress that I just went through, the things that we can see and touch and feel. And these are things to us. And because I am a thing, then I am separate from every other thing in this model. I am here, you are there, the computer screen's over here, my phone's over there, my thoughts are even separate from me. My feelings could be separate from me. And in this matter first model is the sense of separation, which is the sense of lack. It's suggested that this model is what creates all turmoil in our life, both inner and outer turmoil. The inner turmoil that can lead to fear and anxiety and depression and so on, and the outer turmoil of war and hate and violence, racism, all these negative aspects, because when you think you're separate from everything else, now you have to protect yourself. And everything that we see going on in the world is, we could say, is an act of protection, because we believe we're separate from everything else and everybody else. This scientist's conclusion that everything arises out of this infinite potential was proven and awarded to 3 scientists in 2022. They received the Nobel Prize in Physics because they demonstrated that everything is just, it's one fabric that is interconnected. And when you could say, when you touch that fabric anywhere in it, simultaneously, everywhere else in that fabric knows you touched it here. That's the one reality that we point to here, that scientists have proven experimentally and have been awarded for it. But again, it's like we know this truth is here, and yet we ignore it and discard it and go on with everything is a solid object. And it's in that where all of this inner and outer turmoil arises from, is our basis of reality, is our current model of reality. So let's compare that to a consciousness-first model of reality, which is non-duality. The matter-first model is a model of duality, and the consciousness-first model of reality is a model of non-duality. It says that if we take the example of the matter first, where the scientists ended up in this infinite plane of potential, that is all there is in non-duality. That's the ultimate reality. And everything that we know is this one appearing as the many. So everything that we're looking at right now, can touch and feel and think and know, is nothing other than the one fabric appearing as all of these separate objects. In this model, there is no room for separation. How can there be when there's not two of anything? Nothing can stand apart from anything. Nothing can exist separate from anything else. The non-dual model, or the consciousness-first model, is a model of total unity. And in that model of total unity, there is no room for turmoil. Because there's no inside or outside anymore. Because there's only one. Nothing can stand apart from this one. Because if it tried to, it would find only itself. So when you apply the quantum physicist's findings to, and you end up in the space of non-duality, you lose the ability to hate and harm yourself and others. Because there are no others that are standing separately and exist separate from you. It's only you, the one reality, appearing as others. And in that, you lose the ability to hate and harm. Because you realize you'd only be hating and harming yourself. So what we do here is we move from a matter-first model of reality into a consciousness-first model. Because it becomes obvious that we want to head towards this non-dual model, this non-dual understanding of ourself. Because it's in that is where the peace is experienced. The permanence. So the question always arises at this point is, how to? How do I get there? How do I experience this one, this non-dual experience that the brightest minds in history have pointed us to, along with the great sages of the East that have known this for thousands of years? I mean, these scientists have only known this for 100 to 125 years, and the sages have known this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. This is the emergent. This is what we're after. This is the East and the West merging together, saying there's only one reality. And in that is the peace we all seek, is where all the answers lie. Is when you come home to this one experience. In that one, everything is known. It's like you totally get it by knowing this one. And that the one isn't a substance. It doesn't have form. It's an experience. It's a unique experience. It's a non-objective experience of yourself. And so these satsangs always have a common theme to them, because there always seems to be some sort of a progression to get from where we are to this other side or this other experience of consciousness. And what's pointed out is that once you do that, you realize that wasn't a journey at all, because consciousness has been the only thing here the whole time. So these satsangs, these talks, these dialogues are all just ways to reveal the truth through discussion, through concepts, through intellectualizing them, so that you gain trust in the message itself, to start to engage in how do I disassemble this experience I'm having of multiplicity, the experience that I'm having of duality. How do I disassemble that to get to the one experience of myself? And as you spend time in the conceptual part of it, just like these models I just went over, these are just conceptual models that help you understand and help reveal the truth. They're just models and discussions that help you gain trust in the message, so that you build up the courage to start to let go of what is getting in the way of realizing a non-dual experience. And so the more we spend here, we learn there's some techniques that we can start to let go. And I would say the first one, like we talked about last week, was neti, right? Where what this message is saying is, I am not who I take myself to be. And so I'm willing to let go of the things that I am not. And the more of these identities that I'm willing to let go of, the more and more I experience the peace of myself. Which means that all of my identities, all of my attributes, all of my attachments, everything that I believed myself to be, is the barrier to experience a non-dual reality. So when we bring this home to ourselves, because this message is all about direct experience, if everything I say, if I can't bring it back to your direct experience, it doesn't have value. Because this is all about how you experience yourself. This is about experiencing yourself differently than you currently are. I'm going to use an example of a funnel. So a funnel has two pieces. It has like a pipe piece, and then it has we'll call it the funnel piece. And in this, there is an interface between the pipe and the funnel. There is a an invisible area there that is not quite the pipe and it's not quite the funnel. So there's actually three, we could say, pieces to this funnel. And we as ego sit here. We are this interface between what I'm going to call the funnel, which is all of our identities, all of our attributes, all of our attachments, everything that we're going to consider to be unreal. And the pipe is I am. The pipe is reality. And we, the ego, sit here between the funnel and the pipe. And this ego is literally the sense of me, the sense of I, the feeling in here that I am this body. That feeling is what is the barrier to the pipe. So this progression of neti is understanding what all of these thousands of identities we built up over the course of our lifetime is. I mean, and I'll go over a few here so you can see the total, like true obvious ones for most of us. The more time you spend in silence, you start to understand all of your little micros, all of your little identities that you've added to yourself. And that's why this message, it can't be scaled. It can't be scaled as one bulk message because all of us have different funnels. We all have our own unique conditioning. That's what makes all 8 billion of us unique, is our conditioning and how that comes through us. So the more you let go of these identities, such as I am a man or a woman, I am a father or a husband, I am a son or a daughter, I am a brother or sister, I own a house, I rent an apartment, I own a bike, I have thoughts, I have feeling. These are all in this funnel. And the more we let this go, the more this dissolves, this sense of me, this feeling, and we start to experience this pipe. And I say it's a pipe because we'll say it goes back to your heart. But your heart, we have to be careful here. The pipe, because it represents like distance and maybe something that's rising, your heart or I am does not move. It does not rise. So every metaphor breaks down at some point. So just be aware, this pipe is I am. So this ego holds I am, the truth, to what is not true, which is in this funnel. So if we take this back to what the physicists have done, they just look under layers until they find reality. The egos, your attributes underlying reality is the ego, and the ego's underlying reality is yourself. It's this funnel and pipe is nothing more than the regression of what we think reality is into reality itself. And what is standing in the way is this interface that when examined, you will not find it. It's not there. And it's not only you, it's every person that's ever looked, and it's every psychologist that's ever tried to locate it or analyze it or contain it in some way. It's just not there. When that falls apart, when this sense falls apart, you experience the unified field that the quantum physicists have discovered. So we've pinpointed the issue. The issue is this sense. Because even back to this funnel example, even if it lets it go, what is letting go of this? This thing is. I let go of my identities. I let go of everything. And yet in this example, there's still somebody, this sense, that is let go of everything. What won't it let go of? It won't let go of itself. It'll play the I let go of everything game, but I won't let go of myself. This is where self-surrender and self-enquiry come into play. As you turn, that's surrendering into the pipe, into I am, and engaging into self-enquiry, which is turning your attention back onto the pipe, back onto I am, and back onto reality, to remember who you actually are. It's nothing more than remembering what has ever been. What is here right now, what has never gone away. It's been here for eternity. And this is who you are. This is what I am is. I am, in its current state, takes itself to be this body. But in reality, I am is infinite and dimensionless, formless. And that's the ultimate discovery in this lifetime, is the realization that I am is not contained in this body and limited by this body, and thinks it's a standalone reality versus everything else, and therefore it fears everything. It has a sense of lack, and therefore it has some sense of anxiety or anxiousness in that. And it's the remembrance that I am is the infiniteness of totality. And that is who I am is. That is, you could say what I am is, if you want to try to make it a thing, which it's not. I am is the consciousness first model. I am does not have consciousness. I am is consciousness. When I am has consciousness, that's the matter first model. That's the brain came into play billions of years later, and out of that somehow consciousness sparked in that brain. That's duality. feel free to ask any questions if you would like.